first step toward a professional haircut is to have your implements in good repair and in a sanitary condition at all times. The Yoyette clamp can be used very successfully for parting, blocking, and holding the hair. For wet hair shaping, the razor with a guard is preferred. The following hand positions will help you develop skill and accuracy. The exposed blade should be directed away from you during tapering so that the hair strand goes over the cutting blade before coming in contact with the guard. The various hand positions determine the amount of taper you may achieve for different styling effects. The changing of your blade frequently is very important. This can be done rapidly and makes the hair shaping much easier. Your scissor has one movable blade which is on the thumb side. The hand should be stationary at all times with only the thumb moving. You will note on the thinning shear there is one serrated blade and one movable blade. Here again, the holding of the instrument is very important. We control it while combing the hair at the same time. For this tailored style, we start with our guide on the nape line. We work from the center toward the right, cleaning up the neckline as we go. Now this is very important. Keep the shear flat to the neck so that you don't injure your patron. Graduate your comb upward. Your comb is your guide. Work always with your shear over your comb, repeatedly checking your guideline. You will note how the hair is contoured upward, bringing the hair back to the base of the comb. Bring the guide up to the beginning of the earlobe for this tailored neckline. If you desire a little longer neckline, depending on the patron's neck proportion, we can use a little additional length. Now use an effilating movement around the ear. This will give you softness for the forward movement which is going to be used with this tailored style. Comb the hair downward and check it. After you have given the proper taper, constantly work your guidelines to achieve smoothness and perfection in the gradation. Work from the center to the left. Here again we go up approximately to the earlobe. We must not get too high behind the ear. Keep it approximately to the earlobe. Some necklines require slightly higher movements, such as does our model today with her shorter neck. Many times we will leave it lower, depending on the style or length of the neckline. Graduate the hair up again, bringing it back into the base of the comb. We will demonstrate this with a lighter comb, so that you can actually see the hair come back into the base of the comb. Here you will note the hair as it falls to the base. Now this is very important to ensure that you have proper blending on the neckline without any coarse abruptness to the hair. Feather the hair at the nape so that you eliminate a heavy line. Now, graduating upward, hold the hair out erect from the scalp. Hold the hair high, bringing the hair to the base of the comb and cutting with a blunt movement. Check your guideline again to make sure you have the guide in the proper contour line with the shape of the head. Let your top sections down next and blend those with your guideline with an effilating movement, a slithering movement with the shears so that you have quite an extensive taper on the ends. Here again you can hold the hair erect and cut against the base of the comb. Now this tapers down to the neckline, giving a softness to the nape with no bluntness or heaviness at the nape line itself. Graduate upwards, letting one section down at a time. Now with tapering, graduating, and fitting the hair down close to the neckline. On the sides, we use a diagonal parting holding the hair taut, combing it forward, and using a slight slithering movement to remove the desired amount of hair. When the hair is quite curly, it is helpful to dampen the hair to remove some of the curl. This will straighten the hair so that we can check the length of the hair properly and give us a better view of our actual haircutting results. Of course, this should be done only prior to the final cutting. A little bit of cutting can be done with your shear after the hair has been dampened, but generally speaking, we prefer to do our wet hair cutting with a razor rather than with a scissor. However, we can remove some irregularities which we may have missed with our razor by the use of the shear. Now, with the bang arrangement, comb the hair down, here again using quite an extensive slithering movement, so the hair will be soft and casual over the forehead without too much heaviness. Comb the hair into position each time to make sure your length is proper. Comb the haircut thoroughly when you are through, directing the hair in the lines of the desired style. The hair should be groomed thoroughly before the patron leaves if she does not desire a shampoo and wave. Now, this is very important. Never let your patron leave the salon without having her hair combed neatly and being well groomed. If our patron were not to have a shampoo and set and comb out, we would dress her hair similar to this. We did give her a set and a comb out. Now, it was quick and easy from the tailored style cut.
Oh man. So hi everybody. Oh boy, everything's all helter-skelter here. Change some things. There we go. Hey, I'm Skip Alzheimer of AV Geeks, and I just took a shower. Things kind of ran tight because for some reason, like many people, I'm trying to make bread. And I just saw a Great British Bake Show, which had bread in it, and there was some comedy of errors, and the big comedy of errors, I was going to use my Instapot to do it, but I don't have a yogurt setting on my Instapot, so I'm trying to figure out a way to prove it that's not going to take 15 hours. So if anybody has an idea of how to speed up proving with normal appliances, because it seems like I need to be around 110 degrees, and the lowest anything goes is like 150. So in the comments. I'm also going to be looking on Google to see what I can do. Anyways, so I collect old 16mm films. I don't bake bread for a living, obviously. And so I'm happy to show these films to you. We have a little lunch break to kind of get you away from looking at the news and just kind of look at films from the past. And that last film is a film that I got on eBay. Which is it's an amazing film, and a lot of people are already beginning to try to figure out, like, well, wait a minute, how am I going to get my hair cut, because I'm long overdue. I was talking with the Found Footage Festival guys last night, and they are actually looking to buy a Flowbee, but because they released a video tutorial on the Flowbee, the price of Flowbees has jumped on eBay from $20 to $100. And I was like, well, dude, you guys kind of created that frenzy, so your fault. Anyways, lots of things to look at today. I'm going to start off with a cartoon, and this one is also a musical, and it's about poisoning. So this Sniffy escapes poisoning. It featured a kid with a giant head, and some not so politically correct racial stereotypes. Enjoy.
Hey, Sniffy, it's morning. Time to get up. Gee, Sniffy, what's the matter? Don't you feel good? No fever. Open your mouth. Say, ah. Gosh, that sounds awful. Boy, you must be sick, Sniffy. Whenever I get sick, Mommy gives me some medicine. Let's get you some medicine. Then you'll feel okay. Mommy keeps all the medicine up there. Boy, look at all this stuff. Here's the aspirin. Mommy gives me aspirin when I'm sick, and it helps me feel all better. Boy, Sniffy, I bet if I give you a whole bunch of them, you'd really feel okay again. I'm a little aspirin pill. I can help you when you're ill. But little kids are not to touch. They always try to take too much. Medicine is really strong. It fights the germs that do the wrong. But too much medicine would make you sick. You'd have to call your doctor quick. Hey, Sniffy, I didn't know too much aspirin would hurt you. Hey, Sniffy, maybe you got a cold. I'll give you some cough medicine.
Excuse me. I'm cough medicine. Once more, boys. A 1, a 2. I'm cough medicine. I help you when you cough. But little kids should keep hands off. Don't take medicine by yourself. You just leave us on the shelf, okay?
I'm a little red pill, I am blue. We might be dangerous for little ones like you. We are the medicines you don't know about. So stay away from us or you better watch out.
A lot of little little kids get hurt this way. 'Cause that's read what the Bible say.
So if their tummy feels bad, go and tell your mom or dad. And that means you, and you, and you. Wow. Hey, Sniffy, aren't you sick anymore? I guess he's not sick anymore. Gee, I could have made Sniff sick. I'm glad we found out that only mommies and daddies are supposed to give medicine.
Yowza. Alright, we're back. What'd you think about that? That was something. I like the little singing medicine, little pills. Pretty great. Time for some spaghetti.
Hey, mate! What's the meaning of this? We want a good lunch, or it's mutinous time. Captain! Captain, did you hear that?
Steady, Mr. Jones. I have a hunch. Franco-American spaghetti for lunch.
If kids ran the world, lunch would always be Franco-American spaghetti. It has the special mild tomato sauce only Franco-American knows how to make. And you can get it with nutritious ground beef. Beef in every bite. Or with 6 beefy meatballs. All with a mild sauce so good kids never get tired of it.
The sauce is boss.
A ship-shaped lunch.
If kids ran the world, lunch would always be Franco-American spaghetti.
What a hunch. The lunch that never fails.
Yeah. Gordon Jump. Everybody. Gordon Jump. You might remember him from... God, look at that. I tried to brush this thing. Boy, I'm just going to have to... Anyways, Gordon Jump. WKRP. He shows up in some educational films that I have made. Some, actually, Church of Latter-day Saint ones about relationships. And he also was in a very special episode of Different Strokes, where he... was a bike, I think he had a bicycle shop, and he also sexually abused Dudley, Arnold's friend. Okay, so here's some new stuff that we've just digitized. This is the Golden Rule. It's fascinating to have a school film that talks about the Golden Rule, but I think it's pretty important. So here we go. Golden Rule.
Often in school, we talk about the Golden Rule. You know the words.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
You have also heard the Golden Rule at home, where you may have heard the words from the Bible this way. As ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. Or another way, as you would that men should do to you, do you also to them in like manner. But they mean the same thing. At church school, too, we often talk about the Golden Rule.
Do you know how to say the Golden Rule? Do you? My father says it this way. Do as you would be done by.
Wherever we hear the Golden Rule, however it is worded, we know that it means the right way to live. Wise and good men all over the world have taught ideas similar to the Golden Rule. In China, many centuries ago, a wise man named Confucius said, "What you do not like when done to yourself, do not do to others." And in many parts of Asia today, people remember what Confucius taught and try to live by his rule. In another part of the world, the Holy Land of Palestine, Jesus lived. He said, "As ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise." Today, people the whole world over remember what Jesus said and how he lived, and they try to live by the Golden Rule. There is an easy way to say the rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But just what does that mean? Let's look at the words and figure them out. Do unto others. That means simply, do for others. What do we mean by others? We mean other people, our mothers and fathers, our brothers and sisters. We mean our friends and our neighbors. We mean everybody, everywhere. Do for others really means do for everyone. As you would have them. That means what you would like them, everyone, to do for you. Do for everyone what you would like everyone to do for you. But wait, what you would like? How do you know what you would like? That calls for thinking. Pretty soon we'll want to see what someone is thinking, and this is the way we'll do it. Listen. We'll call this Thoughtland. And here we can see what someone is thinking. Nancy seems to be thinking that Thoughtland is a strange and wonderful place. We'll come back to Thoughtland, but right now, the chimes carry us back again into our real story. That's the way we're going to think together about the Golden Rule. Do for everyone what you would like everyone to do for you. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Now, let's think about how we can use the Golden Rule every day. Sally has a brand new jump rope. A jump rope is something you can have fun with all by yourself. But look, here comes Sally's friend, Jane. Now, what should Sally do? Should she hide the rope so Jane won't see it? What about showing Jane the rope and making her jealous? But no, Sally thinks about the Golden Rule, and she thinks, what would I want? Here we are in Thoughtland. What if Jane had a new jump rope? Sally thinks, what would I like? What would I want her to do? Why, I'd want her to share it with me. We could take turns or have fun jumping together. Now Sally knows what to do. She'll do for Jane what she would like Jane to do for her. Do you see how Sally has used the Golden Rule to decide what she should do? Let's try using the Golden Rule another time. Look, what are Chuck and Sharon doing? Is this a race? Who's going to win? Uh-oh, be careful, Sharon. Sharon, look out. Sharon isn't hurt, but she can't get up. For a moment, Chuck wants to laugh at her. But then he thinks, what would I want if this happened to me? Let's think with Chuck. If you fell down and had your feet caught so you couldn't get up, what would you like? Wouldn't you want someone to help you? So what should Chuck do? The golden rule tells him to do for Sharon what he would like Sharon to do for him. Do you see how you can use the golden rule to help you decide what to do? Try it again. Hopscotch is a game these girls enjoy. But look at Jimmy. Is he too little to play with them? Gail seems to think so. She thinks he would just get in the way. But what about the golden rule? Gail thinks, what would I want if I were the littlest one and some older children were playing? Think about it. What would you like? Is this what you would like? Is this what Gail should do for Jimmy? Do you see how thinking what you would like helps you to follow the golden rule? Now with Andy, let's try one more time to think how the golden rule helps us decide what is the right thing to do. Look what's happening. Do you see the puppy? Now, Andy has wanted a puppy for some time, and he thinks this one is mighty cute. In fact, he would like to take the puppy home with him. But Andy is thinking of the golden rule, and so are we. Let's all say it together. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. What do you think Andy should do? If you had a puppy and it got out of the yard, what would you want? Wouldn't you want someone to bring it back to you? When we use the golden rule to help us find what to do, we make other people happy, and at the same time, ourselves happy too.
Whew! That, when that happens on the telecine, it's basically because I run out of leader and it goes because it rushes by very quickly trying to get attention. Yeah, so golden rule, Thoughtland. I don't think my Thoughtland is as clear and easy. I think my Thoughtland is filled with weeds and is chaotic piles of things. That's my take on it. A couple years ago, I did a show called When Puppets Go Bad, and I showed a bunch of films where either puppets were going bad, performing bad behavior, or where the puppets were just bad. And this film is one that I showed during that thing, but I also showed during a show called When Star Wars Ruined Educational Films. And there was a bunch of films in the 70s, late 70s, that were all adding gimmicks, sci-fi gimmicks, because kids were so excited about Star Wars So they all added these really just pointless, really just not good gimmicks that just seem like stickered on, and yeah, it's just not good. Anyways, this one is particularly bad. It features our friend Hal Smith again. It's Hal Smith, the person who voiced Stanley from Three Faces of Stanley from a previous streaming event that we did. Hal Smith, of course, better known as Otis the Drunk on the Andy Griffith Show, but he voiced lots and lots and lots of cartoons and radio shows and educational films. So this is Verbstar. It's beat up at the beginning, but you will very quickly realize the ludicrousness of this film and how it just doesn't make any sense to me. So here we go. For your Friday, let's learn about verbs.
Baseliner Cassandra, west from inland. We carry passengers for the
Schedule.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Verbstar. At each of Verbstar's 5 stations, we celebrate the fact that English is now spoken and written throughout the galaxy. The verb is our theme, that most interesting of words. But even as we celebrate the verb with this wonderful Verbstar, let us also credit other words we use for communication. To make a sentence that tells a complete thought, we need not only a verb, but also a noun. But though we need and value the noun, this time our star, our word of the hour, is the verb. Now, to reveal all the intriguing intricacies of the verb, we bring you the fascinating world of Verbstar.
This is Verbstar, Station 1. Here you will receive your first glimpse into the mysteries of the verb.
The fascinating, aggravating verb. And why are verbs so special? Verbs change.
Some words stay the same.
Not verbs. Verbs change.
Do you like to play?
Play is a wonderful verb.
There it is, play. But play won't stay just play.
You'll see plays, you'll see playing, and played.
You see, it changes its endings.
And our verb can change in other ways. Once in a while, for a special meaning, our verb insists on some helpers.
You may see will play, has played, had played, or has been playing.
You think play is mean and confusing? Not at all. Play is a regular verb. You can count on all regular verbs to change in the same way.
But there are a few verbs that are really toughies.
Be. There's a wild one, the worst of the lot.
Just look at what be does. Out of nowhere, it just freaks out with forms we never could expect.
Be, am, are, is, was, were, has been. These are all forms of be.
Nothing regular about verbs like these.
Irregular. Very irregular. But fascinating.
Aggravating. What can you do with verbs like these?
I'd surprise them, memorize them.
Verbs change.
Okay, they know that now. As we move on, they'll find out how.
Away with you to Station 2.
Another mystery, eh, Watson?
Quite right, Holmes. The mystery of the S-form verbs.
I've heard of that case. The verbs change, eh? And no one knows exactly why.
Or who does it?
That's it, Watson. That's it. It's who does it.
I don't follow you.
It's elementary, my dear Watson. A verb describes what happens, an action, and from time to time, the verb mysteriously changes. But the mystery is solved. The verb changes according to who did the action the verb describes.
You may have something there.
Of course. We can have the audience help us prove it, too. First, we list our suspects. Who can do the act?
I can.
Right.
You, only you.
Aha.
John can.
Mary can.
He can.
She can.
It can.
Yes, yes, yes.
We can.
You can, all of you.
They can.
Yes, indeed. Each one of these is a very likely subject.
Well said.
We have identified all of those who might do the action the verb names. With which of these subjects do we find the S form? Perhaps if we test each subject with a verb like tell, we shall be able to solve the mystery of the S form.
You're close to a solution, Holmes.
Not a clue with we, not with the plural you, not they. No, we're drawing near. Aha, it's here, with he, with she, and it. We see the change revealed. Here it is, we find the S.
Bravo! Bravo!
Here at Verbstar Station 2, we have brought you to the famous mystery of the S-form verbs, a case in which the famous Detective Holmes demonstrated that regular verbs take the S form when the subject is he, she, or it, or any single person or thing. We hope you enjoyed sharing the solution of the S-form mystery. We'll move ahead now to Verbstar Station 3.
What do you do?
I turn.
It turns.
You're right. You use the S.
Look, it hasn't stopped. We need a form that means it turns, it turns, it turns, it turns.
Since verbs can change their endings, how about turn with ing? Turning.
It turning? It turning? That sounds terrible.
Turning is pretty good. Maybe it just needs a helper.
I know some words that would make perfect helpers. I am turning. You are turning. It is turning. Well, it was turning. You see, we needed a helper for ing.
Ladies and gentlemen, from this modest beginning, helping verbs came to have an important job, working together with the main verb. Together they are complete verbs with exact meaning.
Tonight, here at Station 3 on Verbstar, we want you to meet these important helpers.
Oh, yes. Some of them feel they should be called auxiliary verbs, but others are perfectly happy to be called helping verbs, because really, they help the main verb.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, our important work as part of a complete verb. Am turning, is turning, are turning, was turning, were turning. You won't remember all their names this time, of course, but they will be very pleased if you recognize them when you see them. Has turned, have turned, had turned. Have been turning, has been turning, will have been turning. Will turn, can turn, must turn, might turn, would turn, should turn. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue on to Station 5. Remember that where you have action, you will have verbs and helping verbs. And here on Verbstar, you had a chance to meet them.
Verbs change. That is becoming plain to see. What do? I talk. And you talk.
John talks.
He talks.
Mary talks.
She talks.
Even it talks.
Small change the S form. A different ending to agree with a particular subject.
another different ending, a change to I am talking, gives a little different meaning to what is happening now.
Suppose I want to tell you about something that has already happened. Another little ending change, ed, and a verb gives a look at the past.
Clever, these verbs. Just add ed and you speak of the past.
Now, how about the other way? Suppose we want to plan ahead. Not a change, but a helper, and we can talk about the future.
Verbs change. I used to think it was a bother, but verb changes let me talk in whichever direction I want.
I found another way to use helpers. They help you talk now about something that has already happened.
Now you've looked both ways. It's the end of the show.
Look ahead again. It's time to go to Verbstar Station 5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Verbstar Station 5. With us tonight is Dr. Ernest Verbose, verbologist, who will discuss current problems in verbal communications. Welcome, Dr. Verbose.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Dr. Verbose, throughout the galaxy, we have had continuing reports of trouble with certain verbs.
Yes.
These troublesome verbs simply refuse to conform to normal standards of verb behavior. Doctor, are these simply bad verbs? How are we to deal with them?
I have given this matter much thought. I will say this. There is no such thing as a bad verb.
But doctor, with a regular verb, we know how it will change. The S form, ed for the past, the ing, and they use the helpers. But don't we have a right to expect that all verbs should make the same changes?
All of us would like that. Learning English would be easier, but many of these words had very unusual childhoods. They just grew the way they are, and they are stuck that way. Irregular.
Oh, for example?
Most irregular is be. Just look at this. All these are forms of be. Now, that is very irregular.
That's almost freaky.
Those may be freaky forms, but remember, there's no such thing as a bad verb. These verbs are irregular, but they work. They do the job. Be here is a very hard-working verb.
That is true. They do work. But now, let's have a look at this machine you have invented to help deal with the irregular verb situation. How does it work?
Very simply. You give the machine a word that you suspect has irregular forms. I give it now the word go. Automatically, this wonderful machine shows you the freaky forms. The irregular forms of the verb.
Oh, amazing.
Notice that here we have a slightly irregular form, and E must be added before the regular S. Sue went, a totally irregular form, and Ray had gone. Gone is another irregular form of go. In this small screen, the machine gives right way, wrong way information. You can see went is never used with a helper. It's not Ray had went, it's Ray had gone. Another irregular form of go.
Oh, that's wonderful. Would anyone in the audience like to check a verb with the doctor's machine? Yes, sir. In the last row.
Do.
Very well. And of course, it is irregular. We have the E added to the S form. Did for the simple past. And with the helping verb, it's had done. The screen shows you must have the helper. Never he done it, but he has done it. If you don't want to use a helper, just say, he did it.
How about C?
I think that's a good prospect. Yes, indeed. Here in the past, we have Sue saw, and with the helper, the form is seen. In the right-wrong screen, we see that seen has to have a helper. She has seen. Without the helper, say, she saw.
We're running a bit short of time, Doctor. Perhaps just one more have.
Good. The irregular forms of have are has and had. And down here with the helper, we have an unusual thing. This verb is helping itself.
We are really getting quite short of time, Doctor.
Just one more thing I want to point out. For example, the verb give. Two irregular forms, gave and given. The simple past and the form using the helper. These are the two places where most irregular verbs are irregular. Just look. Eat. He ate and has eaten. Write. Irregular. With wrote and had written. Take. Irregular. Took and has taken. Just remember, be careful of the past and be careful with the helper. And before I go, two verbs with unusual irregularities. The verb come, the simple past is came. But here's the big surprise. With the helper, you use the basic form of the verb. John has come. Now, look at run. The simple past is ran. But like come, it is used with a helper in its basic form, run. John has run. As the screen shows, not has ran or had ran, but run. And now, as I seem to have used up my time, I too must run.
Change. Yes, they're shifty. A verb is inclined to change at times to fit the subject or suit the time. A regular verb will change its end to s, ed, or ing. It will work with a helper or even two to name the action you want it to. That is a regular verb. Irregular verbs are the other kind.
They amaze the eyes and boggle the mind, but they do their work.
They change in ways you don't expect.
They change.
Strange.
Fascinating.
Aggravating.
They have no rule to learn about. So if they get you down and out,
just surprise them. Memorize them. The Verbstar show will stand by for recycling if desired.
Oh boy. Wow. Sorry. I forgot. I remember this film being inept and being difficult, but I didn't remember how bad it was. I apologize for that. I actually have other films in that series, which is called The Adventures in the Grammar Galaxy, but so bad. I mean, okay, the puppets were great, but just it's basically just a rote lecture, but with puppets and funny voices and some sound effects. But I just don't think it's a successful film at all. It doesn't really show why you would use these in these certain cases. It doesn't give. I just think it's poor. So I saw the person who wrote it, directed, and produced it was Ingvar Grimstad. So maybe English is not his first language, and I don't know. But I also saw that in the credits, which is rare where we have credits, but Bob Baker's marionettes were featured in this as far as the puppetry. And I had friends who actually were interned at the Bob Baker's archive in Los Angeles. And the theater's still there, and they still have performances, and it's mostly still marionettes and not hand puppets. But yeah, if you're in Los Angeles after this all happens, after we get through this, I recommend going and checking it out. Bob Baker made several films over the years and on his own, some promotional films, some educational, a couple religious ones. But yeah, it's pretty amazing space, and it's still around, and not as bad as Verbstar. Sorry. All right, I got to make up for it. Somehow. I've had this film queued up for the last couple of days, but I just haven't gotten to it. And some people love films from the 70s, and this one has a real Chips vibe to it. It's called Traffic Violation Stops, and it's made for police officers. It's a training film. And I got this from the Texas Department of Public Safety. When they got rid of a bunch of films, they gave it to TAMI, which is the Texas Archive of the Moving Image, and they got rid of films that didn't really have anything to do with Texas. And so I got a lot of police training films and civil defense films from them. And so we'll let this run. It'll probably run past 2 o'clock, but thanks so much for coming out. I realized Verbstar got rid of a lot of the population. A lot of people on Facebook were like, and left. Hopefully this film will make up for it. I think it's a lot of fun. And it does have a clown in it, but it's not a mime. So you should be okay. So here's Traffic Violation Stops. Just before we get started, if you like what you saw, there's places to donate on Patreon. You can go to AV Geeks and buy DVDs there. You can share this with other people and friends and family. That's really what we want, is to put eyeballs on these films and kind of give people something to watch that isn't news related, current events related. So here is Traffic Violation Stop. Thanks again, everybody. We will be back on Monday for lunch. I don't know what I'm going to have for lunch. I think I'm going to heat up a hot dog and put it on bread that's already been made, and try to figure out how to prove bread when I don't have really something to prove it with. Try to do it quicker than 15 hours. Anyhow, thanks everybody, and I'll see you next week. Enjoy.
Step on it, man. I told Paul I'd meet him at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay, but if I get a ticket, you're paying for it.
Don't worry, there are no cops out on Sunday afternoon.
Here they come.
Where the hell are they going?
Hide that coke and stop.
How many people in that car? 3, 4? 3.
Here, Billy, cover it up with the blanket.
What are they doing? It looks like you're taking some stuff from the front seat and putting it in the back seat.
Sit on it. Don't look so suspicious.
You ain't gonna make it much farther. It's gonna run out of road up here. Come on, come on. What's the hurry?
My friend here promised her old man she'd see him by 4.
Well, did you see me chasing you? What'd you pull out again for?
Hey, officer, I already got 3 speeding tickets. I mean, if I get another one, I mean, they're going to cancel my insurance.
You should have thought of that sooner. Let me see your driver's license and registration.
Sure. Get the registration out of the glove box, will you?
The detention and investigation relating to a minor traffic violation are limited in scope. The officer may require the driver to identify himself and to produce his driver's license and vehicle registration certificate. In addition, the officer may interrogate the driver with respect to violations he has observed.
I'm sorry, officer. I guess I left my license at the store when I cashed a check before. There's the registration. Here's my student ID.
Now, is this your current address, 2302 South Vermont?
No, I just moved. It's 480 Northwestern, number 43.
Car's registered in his name. You know, I'm not buying this bit about his driver's license. Why don't we run a warrant check on him?
When a car is stopped for a traffic violation, it is not unreasonable to detain the occupants for a short period of time for the purpose of determining whether there are outstanding traffic warrants against the driver or other relevant information contained in police records.
You know, you better get your driver's license, get your address up to date.
I will, officer. Hey, do you mind if I sit down?
Go right ahead. So what's under the blanket?
Nothing.
Mind if I take a look?
Yeah.
Because there are neither fruits nor evidence associated with an ordinary traffic offense, a search of the driver or his vehicle incident to the arrest is unreasonable per se. Sometimes, however, a furtive gesture may help support probable cause to search the interior of a vehicle. Here, the officers have observed the passengers hiding objects under a blanket. Does this furtive gesture itself constitute probable cause to search?
Anything on him? No warrants. We're going to search the car? You know, I'd like to see what those punks got underneath that blanket, but we can't search the car.
The officer is correct. A search of the interior of the car would not be permitted. The law requires more than a mere furtive gesture to constitute probable cause to search. But what if the officers had observed more?
What are they doing? I don't know. Looks like they're moving something from the front seat to the back seat. What's the hurry?
My friend here has to meet her old man by 4 o'clock.
Hey, partner. What's under the blanket?
In contrast to the previous situation, the officers here have observed more than mere furtive gestures.
All right, everybody out of the car and keep your hands out in front of you.
The furtive gestures, coupled with their actual observation of contraband, are sufficient to constitute probable cause to search the interior of the car.
You idiot, I told you to hide the stuff.
Hey, baby, it's your stuff.
John. Yeah, Tom? You won't believe this. What? There goes a clown. And the nerd just ran the stop sign. He sure did. Look at, he's got an expired license tab. Let's stop him.
Hello, officer. What's the problem?
Didn't you see that stop sign over there? You ran right through it. Say, what's your name? John G. Jacobson III. Oh, come on. You don't stop people for that. I mean, with all the other crimes in this city? Your license tab isn't up to date. Oh, hey, man, I've been working 7 days a week. You know, I haven't had time. I'll get one. Looks more like you've been traveling with a circus. Let me see your driver's license and vehicle registration. Oh, sure. Hope you didn't stop me because I'm a little weird looking right now. You see, I just came from a performance in the park. Say, partner, you want to run a warrant check on this? Why don't you step out of the car? Oh, sure. What's a warrant check?
A warrant or records check during a routine traffic stop must be a reasonable police effort under the circumstances and may not be based upon mere curiosity.
There's no local warrants. They're checking NCIC. Looks like everything's going to be okay. Look, why don't you just write me a ticket and let me go, okay? We're running a warrant check on you to see if you have a record, Mr. John Jacobson III. You probably wouldn't have stopped me if I'd looked like an ordinary person. It seems to me like harassment. Listen, don't give me any lectures, Buster. Now, what do you park? I'm a mime. I work in the park on weekends for extra money. Now, I have a little juggling act, hat tricks, little routines like that. Hey, why am I talking to you? You stopped me 45 minutes ago. Can't you just write me a ticket and let me go?
Courts have held that a 40-minute detention to make a record check when there are no suspicious circumstances other than a traffic violation is impermissible. Here, the driver has been cooperative and has produced a valid driver's license and vehicle registration certificate. Therefore, this detention is illegal because it was prolonged beyond the time necessary to issue a traffic citation.
Can we wrap it up? He's a registered narcotics offender. They don't have his current address. Mr. John Jacobson III, I'm placing you under arrest for failing to update your address as a registered narcotics offender. Turn around and put your hands on the car. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. Partner, you want to check the car? Turn around. I'm going to read you your constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent. I like this.
This search was illegal, since the arrest was based on information obtained during an illegal detention. The resulting evidence will be inadmissible in court.
Okay. 7 joints, 4 whites, and 8 reds. Well, Mr. John Jacobson III, looks like you won't be having fun in my park anymore. Oh, we'll see about that. I'm getting a good lawyer, and I'm going to beat this rap. Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Okay, let's take a walk.
You're concerned, Mr. Sims. Not Roscoe, sir, please. Your kids deserve to have these outstanding reference books.
Of course, Roscoe.
Thinking of your fine children trying to make it out there in that educational jungle, but without...
Excuse me.
You're a fine person, and you mean to be a good father. I know that.
Thank you.
It's just that to think of them, those fine children, so bright in that jungle, but what a disadvantage without this fine encyclopedia. Their whole life ahead of them.
Got your literature, Roscoe, and your card. And remember, we agreed on 15 minutes.
You know, it distresses me how much TV kids watch today. It's a devil's tool. It destroys their minds.
Goodbye, Mr. Sims.
Tonight and tomorrow morning. Otherwise, sunny and foggy today and tomorrow. Wednesday, cooler days are
Damn kids' TV. Nobody reads anymore. How the hell they hope to compete? Kids today, they don't know Johnny Carson from Jimmy Carter. What happened, officer? Was there a robbery?
You were all over the road, buddy. Didn't you see our red lights?
Well, yes, that's why I pulled out of your way. I suppose you were chasing a robber.
Mr. Sims, you better step out of the car. Your driving pattern and your conduct suggest you're intoxicated. Hang on. Step over to the curb, Mr. Sims. We're going to give you a field sobriety test. Very good, Mr. Sims. You're under arrest for driving under the influence. Would you step over to the car, please? Put your hands on the car, Mr. Sims.
We have seen why a search of the car or driver is unreasonable per se in the case of an ordinary traffic offense. Here, however, Mr. Sims appears intoxicated.
Around. Want to check the backseat, partner?
Courts have carved out an exception to this rule when a motorist is stopped for driving under the influence of alcohol or other drugs. Thus, the arresting officers may search Mr. Sims and his car for evidence which may reveal the source of intoxication. That search, however, must remain reasonable in scope.
That was in the backseat? Under the code.
Look, I can easily explain that, officer. You see, that was my daughter's coat. I never saw that bottle before.
Really?
Yes, she has asthma. In fact, I saw her yesterday. She pressed my coat.
Just yesterday, you say?
Yeah, don't you see? That explains the flask. I mean, it's my flask, but I only use it for cough medicine. She must have put...
Looks like you're going to spend the night in jail.
Now, look, this is outrageous. I want a lawyer. I can't spend the night in jail. I'm a professional businessman. I assure you officers that this can be easily explained.
You'll have a lawyer, and you'll get the opportunity to post bail, if you've got it.
I must remind you officers, I am not to be taken lightly. And what about my car, my samples? Those volumes are extremely valuable.
Mr. Sims, this car's registered to you. Can you have your wife pick it up for you?
She's out of town.
How about your daughter?
She's in Iowa.
Well, you can't leave it here. We're going to have it towed.
But my samples are in there. Look, it'll be safe here if it's locked. I'll straighten this up at the station. I'll come back for it.
No, I'm afraid not. They come through here at 4 and tow everything.
Police have the authority to impound a vehicle under proper circumstances. Here, for example, Mr. Sims' car is parked in a tow-away zone and cannot be locked and left unattended.
If it isn't necessary, I could drive the car there.
Furthermore, when an auto is to be taken into custody, police may complete an inventory report prior to storage and may list any personal property in plain sight. A closed container, such as the briefcase, could be listed, but note that it could not lawfully be opened in the absence of a search warrant.
They're on our way, partner. They'll be here in about 5 minutes. Okay.
Bob, I don't know. This whole thing sounds strange to me. And besides, I don't need any more trouble with the cops.
It'll be easy. We just take Tony's car over to Jack's garage. Get some lunch while they work on it. Bring it back.
What is with this car? Why do we have to drive this car?
It's probably one of Tony's little business deals.
We both know what kind of business Tony is in.
Come on. We'll drop the car off and get some lunch.
All right. All right. Get this over with.
Great. Tony will owe us a big favor for this one. He can be pretty generous, you know.
All right, let me see your driver's license.
Okay, I was speeding. Having a little fun with the car. Just give me the ticket, huh? We're in a hurry.
Yeah, I noticed. Let me see your driver's license.
Hey, John. You better take a look at this.
Not a very good place to store your dope. All right, get out of the car. Move around the back by the trunk.
The observation of the marijuana in plain view gave the officers probable cause to search the interior of the car.
Smells stronger than that whole shipment we busted last month.
Oh, yeah? Not very much there.
You know, there's no way that smell could be coming from this amount of weed. You know, it smells like it's coming from somewhere behind the back seat. Guess we better look in the trunk.
May they also search the trunk?
What are you doing looking in the trunk?
Yes, even though probable cause to search the interior of the car, incident to a traffic stop, normally will not justify the search of the trunk. In this case, the officers can point to specific, articulable facts indicating that the trunk contains contraband. It has been held that this amount of marijuana in the car, coupled with a strong odor of marijuana coming from the trunk area, gives probable cause to search the trunk.
Hey, look, this isn't even our car. I mean that. This isn't even our car, you know.
The detention and investigation for a minor traffic violation are limited in scope. It is not unreasonable to detain the occupants for a short period of time to run a warrant check. However, the warrant or record check must be a reasonable police effort under the circumstances and not mere curiosity. Unreasonably long detentions where there are no suspicious circumstances other than the traffic violation have been deemed illegal. Evidence obtained during an illegal detention will not be admissible in court. Because there are neither fruits nor evidence associated with an ordinary traffic offense, a search of the driver or his car is unreasonable per se. A furtive gesture alone is not sufficient to constitute probable cause to search the car's interior. However, furtive gestures coupled with plain view observations of contraband are sufficient to constitute probable cause to search. When a driver is stopped for driving under the influence of alcohol or drugs, the arresting officer may search the driver and the car for evidence of this source of intoxication. When a vehicle is impounded, police may complete an inventory report and may list any personal property in plain sight. Closed containers, however, cannot be opened in the absence of a search warrant. Probable cause to search the interior of a car will not ordinarily justify a search of the trunk. To justify a trunk search, officers must be able to point to specific, articulable facts supporting a reasonable belief that the trunk contains contraband.
So like many drug films, or training films. This one serves police officers, but it also serves people who are transporting illegal drugs as kind of a cautionary tale about what not to do when you're carrying drugs in your car. It's really kind of fascinating when you look at it on the flip side. It's like, well, yeah, this is definitely instructional for police officers, but wow, it defines the limits of warrants and probable cause and where not to put your weed. So there you go.